right. We're here with Dr. Shiv Rao. I am Jyoti Balani, founder and managing director of FreshRiver.ai. We're a conversational AI strategy and delivery consultancy. Welcome, Dr. Shiv Rao. This is a very exciting time. Welcome to the show as well. Your company, Abridge, what are you guys solving for?
We're solving for better care delivery experiences because right now we have a public health crisis where doctors like me, nurses, are burning out. They're burning out because more than ever before, they're being drawn into clerical work, tasks that actually take them away from concentrating on the people in front of them, their patients. And at the same time, we're solving for patients and their ability to actually not just remember, but better understand and follow through on what they talked about with their doctors so that we can drive better outcomes for the system.
Yeah, that's amazing. So walk us through an example, because we just did a little demo just before this, and it was spectacular. You asked me tons of questions, and then you actually summarized it. Talk a little bit about what does that experience look like?
Yeah, so we are building technology in the summarization space, and we also structure information from conversations. But it's what a lot of people call ambient AI, in the sense that there are no wake words. I don't have to say anything specific in order for the technology to work. All I need to do is focus on the person in front of me, have an organic conversation, and what the technology is going to do is make sense of it. It's going to understand it. It's going to distill it. So it's going to abridge the conversation and distill it down to where the medical signal was. But then it's going to slot all of that medical signal into the archetypal structure of a clinically useful note, and it's going to summarize it. So that summarization challenge, we're hearing a lot about this new AI technology, for example, in the vision space, like DALL-E or Imagen from Google. These are technologies that are pretty magical in the sense that they can just generate images that we describe. That same core technology that underpins that is what underpins our stack of technology that we've been building over the last 4 years that can make sense of the dialogue, but then it'll actually generate text in the style and structure that a doctor like me might write in.
Right, because you are actually wearing the shoes of the the practitioners, right? Because it's harder, I think, folks to do that. So you combining your know-how and the pain doctors feel, along with the technology, I think is very powerful. How are you seeing the translation to actual health outcomes? Because that is one of the problems we've got. We're really moving from a just go get tests done and right to actual outcomes. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the thesis that underpins everything that we do at this company is that upstream of all the diagnostics in healthcare, upstream of all the therapeutics, upstream of the outcomes, upstream of the medical records, upstream of everything, there's a conversation. And those conversations are increasingly happening over telemedicine. They're happening over the phone. They're always going to happen in person. So this ambient AI technology can be a part of all of those conversations, and it can summarize them in a format that can help everyone better understand and follow through. So in terms of outcomes, I think when I think about this from a doctor perspective, I go through patient after patient after patient, and it's so difficult sometimes to really be fully present because my back is to the patient and I'm writing notes into the medical record. And if I could really feel liberated to be in the moment and just focus, I think that in and of itself will probably lead to better conversations, which should also lead to better patient experiences and hopefully better patient follow-through and patient outcomes. But on the patient side, there's a program from that Medicare had some years ago called Health Quality Partners, where they sent humans to people's homes after complicated patient doctor visits or conversations. And what did those humans do? They went through the visit summaries and they just basically helped people remember, what they were supposed to do or what they talked about. And that program that involved humans moved the needle on readmissions more than any big data analytics initiative. So in a sense, what we can also deliver as a technology company that's summarizing conversations is a way for people to better remember, understand, follow through. This is like an extension of a doctor's best intention to be there for their patient even when they're not in front of them. And I think this is that program, that Medicare program, Health Quality Partners, but driven by tech, scale and something that we can really democratize.
So what strikes me, and I see this with conversational AI projects we do across the board, right, is the removal of friction from the communications, because I think healthcare, amongst all, is a slower moving industry.
Yeah.
And it's been done the same way for years, right? The patients walk away not remembering what they needed to do. The doctor's
Totally.
like, I don't know. So even just friction removal and a better understanding of care, right? What I was really impressed by is your platform was able to extract out the names of the drugs that I was taking, what I needed to take out. It was high. Is that domain specific? Because you guys built your own NLP, NLU, and NLG, right?
That's right. So our proprietary machine learning technology is in the NLP, NLU, and natural language generation spaces. And that's why this is sort of like DALL-E for medical documentation.
Yeah.
And in terms of that technology, some of that work we've published. So we've published more peer-reviewed computer science papers on this challenge than any other entity.
Wow.
Google's in second place.
Yeah.
So we really, truly believe that we're the bleeding edge in terms of this space and where it can go, where we're taking it. So I think what's interesting about framing the challenge in the way we have is that it's scalable. There are over 2 billion medical conversations that happen every year.
Wow.
And the way that we've built our technology in that stack that you described makes it possible for us to expose an API. So
Yeah.
a couple months ago, we put out an API, and we have early customers of that now. And the idea here, at the end of the day, is just to be we want to be synonymous with healthcare delivery and healthcare conversations. Anytime there's a doctor or a care manager or a nurse talking to a patient, we want to be a part of those conversations, our technology, because that means that we're improving it.
Yeah.
That means we're improving the professional experience and dealing with problems like burnout. But over time, we could also be helping with what you described, which is that patient experience and the ability to improve outcomes.
What about languages? Is it just English? Are you guys, adopting other dialects, like even non-native speakers, right? How is that working?
So it's English now.
Okay.
And Spanish is something that we've talked about and we've thought about, and I think we understand how we'd be able to tackle that challenge.
Yeah.
What's really energizing, I think, about this whole space is NLP is having a moment.
Yep.
And things are just progressing so quickly
That's right.
that the ability to actually go after that international opportunity, which exists, because this is really like a universal challenge,
Yeah.
is there. And I think it's just from a startup perspective, where do we start?
So what's the adoption looking like as you work with, the healthcare ecosystem, right, which notoriously moves very slowly?
Yeah.
Where are you starting? Where are you seeing beginning to make headway with this tech penetrating into the system?
I think what's been in our favor here is the path to be able to demonstrate our technology. There's no friction. Like we did a demo earlier.
Yeah.
I did a demo on stage earlier.
Right.
These are live demos. We improvise them together to just come up with whatever we come up with.
Right.
And then we both get to see what the technology, created, what it generated. That ability, I think, to let the technology speak for itself allows us to, I think, short circuit some of these sales cycles and demonstrate our value proposition without needing to spend 6 months ahead of time doing a deep integration into a medical record system to then get to that point. So I think we can bring that barrier, and we've brought that barrier to entry down for decision makers at these large providers and payers to be able to understand and like viscerally really like get what this technology can do for their system.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. I think it's clear in the problem it's solving, but the actual integration into EMR, EHR records, right? Because all of that has been built over so long. I think that's one frustration every startup feels, or even a maturing company trying to go in. So are you striking up partnerships to make it easier to get into that system?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the medical record kind of space is a way for us to be a quick, switch turn on for any given provider or payer system out there is really important to us, and certainly something that we've been going after. And I think it even extends beyond medical records. We start to think about, we were talking about payers earlier, and how care managers have so many conversations with patients on a daily basis, and where are those conversations getting documented, and how could we be a very flexible horizontal API that they can use and leverage in their CRMs. So I think that there are a lot of really interesting channels here in healthcare to get this technology out.
What about privacy and security? Because voice is important. What are you guys thinking around that?
Yeah, well, privacy is paramount, and this company's built with a strong foundation that, one of the most important things is trust in healthcare. And I think the way we think about trust is that it's some combination of reliability, transparency, and credibility.
Yeah.
And so in terms of transparency, we have a privacy policy. We make it clear. We don't, what we do with the data. We don't sell it. If we do learn from it, it's to improve our experiences for those end users. So we make clear what our stance is on data and privacy, and there's nothing that we hold back. In addition, transparency manifests in the product experience. So all of the generative summaries that the technology creates, the machine learning system actually also exposes where it came from in the conversation.
I see.
To make this clear that as much of a black box deep learning can be,
yes,
we've engineered the system in such a way that there's transparency.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of reliability and credibility, we publish peer-reviewed papers. We want to make it clear that this is a rigorous company that's built on that kind of science. And I think in terms of credibility, not only papers, but I think our partners speak for themselves when we think about partners like UPMC, for example, where more than 1,000 doctors are using our technology already.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Dr. Shivraj, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to having Abridge be coming to my healthcare providers pretty soon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much, Jyoti. It's been a privilege.
Same here.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.